and we are
the Science Detectives.
Okay, so welcome to today's session. Today we're going to talk about something called ecosystems. Now you might think, what is an ecosystem? Well, all living things on this planet are all connected in some way, okay? And to non-living things. So if we look at living things such as us humans, plants, animals, organisms, and even some tiny microorganisms that are actually so small that we can't see with the naked eye, we all rely on non-living things to sustain life. So non-living things such as water, sunlight, food, the air that we breathe, soil. So those non-living and living things, they work together to create a little system. And that system is called?
An ecosystem.
An ecosystem. So an ecosystem can be as big as the earth, or it can be as small as a little pond. So if you think about a pond ecosystem, that little ecosystem has everything in there to sustain life for the plants and the animals that live in and around that pond. So they've got food, they've got water, they've got shelter, they've got air, and they've got sunlight. So we thought it might be quite interesting and good fun if we make our own little ecosystem that we can study at home. So I'm going to go through what we actually need to make that. So first of all, we need to start off with two 2-litre bottles, plastic bottles. Now preferably ones that are straight-sided like this and they're clear. We also need some regular sticky tape. We need some quite heavy duty cotton string, okay, that's really important because it needs to be able to absorb water. We've also got just some tap water here. We've got some compost here and some planting soil. We have got some stones. We've got a little bit of bark and sticks to make it interesting. We've got some grasses, some pine cones, some mosses. And what else have we got here, Mary?
We have got some little mini beasts. So there's a snail and there's a few little centipedes in there.
There's a couple of little woodlice in there as well. And you can also put some little worms in there. So there should be everything that those little insects need to sustain life. Okay, so let's crack on. So first of all, we're going to take our two 2-litre bottles, and you can see I've marked them with pen, and this is where we're going to cut the bottles. Now at this point I suggest getting a bit of help from an adult because you might need to get them to do the cutting of this bit because it can be a bit tricky. Now I've already made a little hole in this one, and then I'm just going to cut round the blue line like this, trying to follow. And I have my first 2 pieces, and then I'm going to do the same with my second bottle. Now again, I'm using 2-litre bottles, but there's nothing to stop you from making an even minier ecosystem using, if you want to hold one of them up, Mary, using a tiny little bottle and doing the same process. So we don't need this bit, so we're going to discard that just now. So we've got our base here, we've got our middle portion which is going to sit in like this, and then we've got the lid to go on top. So this is the basic structure of our ecosystem. The first thing that we need to do, so we're taking this part that still has the lid added here, we're going to take that lid off. Again, this is something that you probably need an adult to help you with, because we're going to take the sharp end of a little pair of scissors or something sharp, and we're going to actually just make a little hole in the top of our cap. Okay, so you want to make quite a big hole because we're going to thread our thread through this. Now, I've got my string here, and actually what I've already done is I've pre-soaked a couple of lengths of it in, so it's already absorbed quite a lot of water. So I've got 2 reasonable sort of lengths of string there, maybe about 30 centimetres. So I'm going to take my 2 lengths of string, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread them through. So I'm going to pull it about halfway through. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that, I'm going to put the lid back on that bottle. So what you should have is 2 bits of string on this side and then the remainder dangling down here. So we'll just pop that down just now. Now what I'm going to get Meredith to do now, I've made a little line here, I'm going to get her to fill the base of our ecosystem up with some water. Okay Mary, if you could pour that in there. I'll hold this steady for you. So this is going to be our water source for the ecosystem. So this little ecosystem, it's almost got like a little inbuilt kind of irrigation system. Perfect. Okay, keep going a little bit more. Perfect. That would be absolutely perfect. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to get, so if you want to pop that in there, Mary, we're going to place our top part into here. Now as you can see, those little bits of string have now submerged down in the water. What's going to happen, that water is going to be absorbed by the string and is going to deliver water up into our ecosystem. Now, just to secure this, we're going to put a little bit of tape just to tape this bottom part with the top part. So Meredith, if you can help me, find a wee line, and you can put that around the blue line. Just a couple of times round, and it just secures it and stops it from, because what we don't want to happen is that to come away. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so now we can start building the insides of our ecosystem. So we're going to build this up, and this is going to be our little lid onto it here. So what we're going to do, first thing, we've got our nice bits of string here that are delivering our water, so we want to make sure these don't fall through. And what we're going to do, we're going to start filling this with some nice compost. Now we're going to fill this to maybe about halfway. So Meredith, if you want to scoop that in there. If you want, you can use a bigger scoop, Meredith, if you want to use that actually. Might be a bit better. So again, making sure your string do that down. So making sure your string is still in here and doesn't fall through, because we need that to deliver our water to our soil. Okay, perfect. Okay, we want a little bit more, another couple of scoops in there. So this is going to deliver a nice condition to grow our seeds and our plants in. Okay, so another big scoop in there, Mary. And yeah, I think that's perfect. Okay, so we've got our soil in there. So the next thing that we're going to do, we want to start making this a bit of an interesting habitat for our little insects to live in and for our plants to grow. So I've got some butter beans here. Now you can use any little dried beans or peas or anything that you've got. You can use grass seed, anything that's just going to grow in here. Now Meredith, if you want to take maybe 3 of those out, and we're going to plant them in. So what we're going to do, we're going to push them down. See where my finger is down the side? So when they start to grow, we can see all the little roots growing. So I want you to push them down just into the side. Okay, make a little hole there. Make a little hole in the next one. Perfect. And then maybe another one around the other side. Okay, and then we'll just cover them with some soil, and then we can actually watch them grow. So we could also, Meredith, if you wanted to just sprinkle in some coriander seeds in there. You just sprinkle them on the top. You just take a little handful. Perfect. And sprinkle them in there. Again, this could be any sorts of seeds that you've just got handy. Don't go out and buy anything special. loads of stuff that we can use from inside. That's perfect. And then what we're going to do is just put another little handful of soil at the top of that just to cover them up. Right, now what we're going to do now, we're going to start adding in some of our greenery and some of our little stones and stuff. Okay, so what we're going to add in here, Mary, a few stones.
We're going to add in a few stones first.
Okay, so this will create just sort of places for your little mini beasts to hide, places for shelter. Okay. Perfect. And what the idea is we're going to build these layers up. Super. Okay, so now got some nice rough bark chips here. So we could add just nice bit, and just creates a nice little, you could add that one in there, because you could create just places for your little insects to climb on, and a nice bit of bark on the bottom. And some nice smaller bits underneath here. Perfect. Okay, that was brilliant. Okay, so now what else we've got?
We're going to add in some
We're
grass.
going to add some nice grasses. Now we've got some moss. Actually even found a little feather there if you wanted to pop in. Mary's found a little pine cone. So then you could just then add some nice little grasses in there. So lots of nice green kind of vegetation for it to hide and kind of nibble on. Okay. Perfect. You can just pop that down. I need to get a little bit more. We've also got a few little daisies in there. So you've got quite a lot of nice. So you can design your own little ecosystem there that's got lots of lovely layers for your insects to go in. Right. Now what's going to happen though, things might escape from the top of this, and we want to make this a little closed system. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our bottle, and this is going to be the lid for our ecosystem. So if we can, and what we're going to do, we're going to get that sellotape again, and we're just going to sellotape that layer, again just to stop it from falling off. If you could hold that, Mary, that's brilliant. And we'll just do that, and that just stops anything escaping from a little bit. Now, obviously, if I put the lid on the top of this, it's going to actually really restrict the air getting into there, and we don't want that because we need air in order for our plants to survive and also our little mini beasts to survive. So we want to leave that open. But to stop our little insects from escaping, we're going to put just like a little bit of mesh on the top. Now I forgot to get my little bit of mesh out. So I actually cannot find it to hand at the moment. But what you're going to put over the top of there, if Mum's got an old pair of tights, or you've got an old little bit of mesh that will allow the air to get in, just going to pop that over the top of your bottle there. So that is our little enclosed system. Now, what we actually forgot to do was to add our little mini beasts in, didn't we? So probably best to do that before you add this final layer in. So if I just open that up slightly, we can slip our little mini beasts in the top. So Mary, are you ready to add them in? Being very, very gentle. So we'll add them in. We've got a little wood louse kind of going in there. Got a nice little snail, got lots of food for him to munch on. Couple in there. Do any more? Don't want to overload it, we don't put too many in, but we've got 3 or 4 little mini beasts in there. Okay, perfect. Oh, a nice extra little one there. Oh, there's not one to go. There we go. And then re-seal that up again. So now we've got everything in there that we need. Now, we want you to put this, we don't want to put it in direct sunlight, but we want to put it somewhere where it's going to get lots and lots of light and a little bit of warmth. So you can have it on your windowsill, or you could put it in a nice kind of sort of a sheltered spot in your garden. And what you're going to do, over the next kind of week or so, you're going to observe what's happening in there. Now you won't need to water this. If your string is correctly up in your soil, the water should be carried up that string and it should water all your nice soil in here. And what I want you to observe is what starts to happen to your little beans that you've planted in there. And I want you to observe, just generally, what is happening inside your little ecosystem. So, that's the end of this little science session for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you have loads of fun doing your little ecosystem. And there's lots of things that you can sort of explore with this particular experiment. Now what we want to say, at the end of this experiment, so after a week or two, when you've seen your little shoots grow, what we'd like you to do is open the top of that and let your little mini beasts back out into their natural kind of habitat. And you could also look at your beans and have a look at them, and you can almost replant them on. Okay, so all that remains to be done is for you to go and wash your hands, because you've been dealing with beasties and soil and everything, and enjoy the rest of your day.